All right, welcome back, everybody. This is Johnny Torres, and you tuned in to HODB preview. And we're here, with a young entrepreneur being joined by Mr. Amagiri Young. And again, I just want to thank everybody who tunes in, who listens in. The nature of HODB is to explore and to analyze new trends and people really making a difference in this entertainment business. So, Mr. Young, Amagiri Young, man, I wanted to thank you, for taking your time to take our call. Thank you. How are you today?
Yeah, you welcome. I'm all right myself. How's everything going with Hot on the Block? Mr. Torres.
Everything is good, brother. It's getting good. Just looking forward to working with you. You know what I mean? We've been following your career for a while now, and you've been a person that's been able to mature, his brand architecture. You have your website. You have two websites. One that is designed for your brand architecture, and then you're also a recording artist. So today we want to connect you with the public and start letting the public a little bit more about who you are and about your companies. So why don't you tell us, where you're calling from today?
All right. Well, right now I'm currently in Richmond, Virginia. I'm from New York, Long Island, New York, but I moved to Richmond, Virginia about 2 years ago because my grandfather had called me down to his homeland to help him out with some of the physical labor around on the property. But he had passed in November, the day after Thanksgiving. So, I had planted my feet. I had brought my business down here as far as the studio, recording studio, and my entertainment business. And I had stayed down here instead of going back to New York because I had put so much time and effort into getting my business transferred down here and things like that. But, that's my story of why I'm in Richmond, Virginia. And elaborate off of the artistry and the website. The website is rgassociation.com for the brand, and also for the other artists on the roster, on the label roster. And then you have my personal musician website for Amagiri Young, where you can find any news, any latest music videos and everything about myself. You know what I mean? And I'm an independent artist. I'm a young entrepreneur. You know what I mean? And I'm just trying to, find my path and let the world know my story and how you can achieve anything that you put your mind to. Because, I came from a place where I didn't have much of nothing, not even too much as far as people helping out financially for my dreams and goals. But I've been making it progress, and every year, as you said, you've been following my career, I've been progressing every year. I currently got a hit single out titled Girlfriend that's on YouTube. It's pushing 60,000 views. So, I'm just trying to, build the brand, build my artistry, build the business, and give back to my communities, to the world, to the less fortunate, and hopefully make something out of life and be able to touch somebody else and be able to have them progress or make positive changes in their life. You know what I mean? Because I come from that urban environment where parents are, drug addicted, etc. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. A lot of people can relate to you. A lot of people can definitely relate to you. All right, so you're getting a lot of views. 60,000 views is really a lot of views, and it keeps on growing. I kind of want to get an understanding of that because, we're in public relations, and in public relations, we deal with something that's called impression, views, eyeballs. So I guess it goes into marketing, but 60,000 really is a lot.
Yeah.
Tell us.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, I'm honored to be able to make the kind of music or be able to make a single or record that, when it once marketed right, was able to reach so many people, and it's constantly getting views. It's a good record. It's a universal record, a girlfriend song, a nice video to it, and I'm just trying to push and offer this record success. I'm trying to build and bring awareness to my brand, to my artistry, to me as a musician, to my company, you know. And also I'm looking forward to probably, you know, booking some things, doing some shows, and selling some clothes in Las Vegas as well, you know.
All right, very cool. All right, before we get a little bit more in depth into Girlfriend, can you tell us how exactly did you get involved in music or with music?
All right, yeah. Well, it started at a young age, man. I took a liking to music. And I started actually, my favorite rapper at that time is still is Tupac. But at that time, I would listen to Tupac and Biggie tapes, and I started rapping over them rather than listening to what they saying. I started just freestyling over them. And then, you know, at the age of 13, 14, an older friend in the neighborhood said, "Yo, I want to take you to the studio, but I want you to write a song." So I sat in my car and I wrote a song titled "To All My Little Gangsters," and that was my actual first time sitting down, taking the time out to write and to try to get my lyrics and everything to coexist and not just be freestyling and rambling. So at 13, I started to focus, and the doors was open to me to see what a real recording studio looked like. And I made my first song, and then from there, I just kind of, you know, I fell in love with it, as my first love was music, and I just continued to write, to freestyle, and to work on music. But I had no business knowledge as far as it. It was just more out of fun and for the love of it. And then as I got older, into my mid-20s, I started to study, started to self-educate myself. And then I opened up my company in the year 2014, and I released 2 mixtapes. And I released my first mixtape called GOD, God, Guns, Ovaries, and Drugs, in 2004. Then I followed it. That was September 2004. November 2004, I dropped the sequel called Lucifer, which was my 2 mixtapes. And then I started releasing singles, distributing them worldwide on your digital outlets, iTunes, and things like that. And then I started reaching out to childhood friends and people that I grew up with, and I started anybody that had that talent for music or anybody that wanted to be involved with the company. I reached out to them, and I signed a few artists. I've been to Atlanta, Georgia, Washington, D.C. I'm from New York. I done performed in New York, D.C., Georgia, Los Angeles, and, you know, Virginia. And I'm just trying to continue to expand my brand and hopefully be able to reach some people in the world that can relate to my story. And I can also, you know, educate them and give them knowledge through my music or through my interviews and things like that, through magazine interviews and printings. And so, you know, I'm just working. It's not an easy thing for me, you know, being in love with music since an adolescent, and then now knowing how the music industry is. It takes a lot of money when you're an independent artist trying to compete with the majors. But if you make good music, you do have a shot at being successful as an independent artist. So that's where I'm at now, and that's how I started off about 7, 9 years old, rapping over Tupac tapes. And then at 13, I wrote my first song in a professional recording studio called Rush Studios in Long Island. And here I am today with my own record company. I own 2 websites. I own a clothing line. And I'm just looking forward to reaching people, connecting with people that can relate to my story. Once again, you know, I come from the urban environment where the parents of the 80s got addicted to crack cocaine, and that's the story I got to tell about growing up less fortunate, getting peanut butter and jelly sent to you from welfare and things like that, growing up in a struggle. And you can hear some of that struggle through my interviews, through my music videos, and through my music, through my lyrics, period. But, you know, and I know, like we discussed earlier, Mr. Torres, there's a lot of people in the world that can relate to that. And those are the people that I want to touch, because just because we come from unfortunate circumstances, that doesn't mean we have to stay in those unfortunate circumstances. We can lift ourselves up and be successful in this life.
I think it's very interesting, you know, hearing you speak, and it's actually very inspirational and motivational, because, you know, you're speaking about touching people's lives, and you're speaking about a purpose through music, and music has always been that platform or that instrument to really to communicate to, you know, to massive people. You know, I was having a talk a couple of days ago with a gentleman who like he's this very well known producer. He still charges like all this tons of money for singles and stuff, and he mentioned the song "Spread Love," and it was one of the first songs that went diamond. And I think to diamond, I don't know how many copies it is, but that was like back in the days, and
Yeah, that's about 10 million copies.
that's about 10 million copies, and I think they went like 10 times diamond.
Yeah, that's success, boy. That's hard to repeat, man. That's definitely reaching a lot of people.
And it was a family. It was a family. I'm not sure if it was like the McKnight family or somebody attached to the McKnight family, but it was like a really nice song called "Spread Love," and it definitely made his way in history. So you mentioned money is not something that you mentioned. You mentioned touching lives and a bigger purpose, and is that why you do what you do?
Yeah, I mean, yes, that's always why I did what I do. I don't want to get off subject, but I just want to make this point because it coincides with what we're saying and with my answer to your question. I had scholarships for basketball, and even throughout your childhood dreams, you pray and you hope that you could be successful with whatever your dreams or goals is. And even as a child, as me wishing and hoping for to be successful as I got older, I always said, I want to give back to my community. I want to do what I felt like Michael Jordan and Shaquille O'Neal, which was the NBA players I looked up to at that time. I wanted to do give back to my community more than because I felt that they wasn't reaching out to the community and giving back to the communities they came from with the amount of success that they had reached. So now that I'm progressing in the music lane, and I want to be able to keep my word and to follow through with my dreams as far as giving back to the community, because I came from those communities that had nothing. We might have didn't have a basketball. We might have didn't have a park or a playground where we could play full court basketball or something. Only a swing in the playground. Everybody don't want to swing on a swing. So I always wanted to give back. It's people less fortunate. It's little children that's growing up with parents that's more in love with the drug or toys that they're doing, and they'd rather go buy their next drug than go buy that kid's food clothes so that kid goes to school and be teased. And part of me, once I started the music, I also started a foundation called the Amagiri Young Foundation, and I go around to shelters. I started doing this in New York at first, but I plan to spread it worldwide. I go to shelters, and I will pick a boy and a girl, a kid from those shelters, a boy and a girl, and I would go buy a pair of sneakers from a store, a pair of expensive sneakers, about $100 a pair, some Nikes, and I would give a boy and a girl from a shelter a pair of sneakers to go to school, some brand new sneakers, because I know their parents are less fortunate. And I'm not a millionaire. I don't have a bunch of money, but even as a person that's trying to make money, I still dig in my pocket and I try to find a way to give back to my community. As far as my clothing line is called, the name of the clothing line is called Reality and Growth. And the Reality and Growth, I named it that because that was my message to the community, and it was a form of also me giving back. Like, if we learn to deal with reality, we come from unfortunate situations. Once we learn to deal with that reality, we can grow, and we can grow out of those unfortunate situations. So, I want to be able to do a lot for the community. I want to offer the community jobs. You know what I mean? I want to be able to give homeless people clothes to put on their back. And if I could, I want to be able to open up homeless shelters to get people that can't have nowhere to live, to get them off the street. So it's a lot that I want to do because I have those type of emotions that's attached to those situations. Drug abuse, homelessness, less fortunateness, kids that doesn't have school clothes. They don't want to go to school. They'd rather stay home because they don't want to be teased by their fellow kids. So, there's a lot of things I want to do, but I know I have to take it one step at a time, and I have to make the best business decisions to be able to give back to the community. I have to have that support as well from the community that I want to give back to. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And I think now when people will go out and purchase your music, your clothing, or anything that is attached with your brand, they'll actually, now they actually see what they're actually getting along with that concept. Can you just remind everybody, how they could get in contact with you and how they could, support you, through these pages or through the social sites?
All right, yes, you can get in touch with me. My primary page is Facebook.com, the real Amagiri Young. I'm a verified artist. You can look me up. I'm working real hard to try to solidify my spot in hip hop in this industry. And you can find me on Facebook.com, the real Amagiri Young. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, Amagiri Young. Everywhere you can find me on the internet or social media is Amagiri Young. My musician name, my artist name. You can contact me if you look me up on Facebook, etc., through either Instant Messenger, or you can contact me through the website, rdassociation.com. You can send me an email at realhughesAssociation@iCloud.com. And if you just look up for me on the internet, it's going to be many ways that you can contact me, and it'll be up there for you to be able to reach out to me. And, whether you just want to say thank you, whether you want to ask me for my input, whether you need some advice, whether you want to support me, you can also support me at paypal.com, paypal.me/Amagiri Young if you want to donate and help contribute to me giving back to the community or whatnot. And I just want to all my real supporting fans, I want to say thank you, and I appreciate all the love and support that the people have been giving me and my brand. And I just look forward to working harder and smarter.
Very cool, man. It's definitely a privilege. All right, and to follow the story, you can call us at 917-933-0443. That's 917-933-0443. And we'll link you up with Amagiri Young if you want to work with him. He is our cover story. We're gonna be launching him and a special edition. We're in talks now about an exact date. So we're looking to launch in Vegas with Mr. Amagiri Young and the R&G Growth Association. So Amagiri, before we get more deeper into who you are, what do you want to let people know about you that they don't already know? Who is this guy Amagiri Young?
Okay, well, I want to let people know, sometimes when people see success, they might not know the hard work, or they might not know the circumstances that you come from. Like from the age 17 to the age 25, I was actually incarcerated. I came home to nothing. I'm talking about to $0, not even a penny. I was incarcerated from the age to the best years of one's life would be your teenage years and your early 20s. And I was unfortunately incarcerated for that, for weapon charges. And, as I got out, I had to tell myself, do I want to live the life to be in and out of jail and to be known as a jailbird for the rest of my life? Or do I want to live up to my potential, my God-given talent? Do I want to live up to that potential? And I want to say I came home from a parole violation in 2011, and I haven't touched a prison or jail since. And in 2011, when I came home to nothing. And what I mean by nothing, I was actually released from prison to a shelter. I was released from prison to a shelter because they didn't want to allow me to go home to my family members. They didn't want me to have too much freedom because I was always, I was in and out of jail. I wouldn't stay home for a month. And at the end of the day, in 2011, I said enough is enough with the knucklehead lifestyle. And I started reading books. I started educating myself on how to start a business, how to start your own business. I enrolled in Full Sail University for music business to educate myself and to be knowledgeable in this music industry where I might not have where I might have lacked information or education. So I came from nothing. I came home from the prison to a shelter, and now I own 2 websites, a record company. And I own a catalog of music, which you can look that up on any digital or internet music outlet, iTunes, etc. And I did all of that from coming from nothing. So I say that to never be discouraged and to never give up, because if I came home from prison to a shelter, and now in 2017 I own a record company, I own a record catalog of multiple singles and albums, 2 websites and a clothing line. and I was fortunate enough to meet good people that's into the business as me, like Mr. Torres yourself, and I'm looking forward to expanding on the West Coast, to building out there and reaching some fans, and just looking forward to growing. But that's something about me that many people might don't know, that from 17 to 25, I was incarcerated in New York Department of Corrections for 7 years, and I came home to nothing. I came home to a shelter. Now to being able to be a musician that got over 60,000 views on his music videos, and to be able to say I own a clothing line and I have artists under me, and that I'm giving back to the community, that I'm giving back to kids in shelters, and I came from out of a shelter myself. You know what I'm saying? So that's something that people might not know about. Yeah, that's a big deal. That's something people don't know. But that's also something that can give people that inspiration, because you can you can come out of a shelter and be a millionaire in 2-3 years, you know. And then one thing I also want people to know, and I want them to get out of this interview, is this: I learned that I would rather be free. I would rather be broke and free than living a life of being in and out of prison. Because if I'm broke but I'm free, I always have the opportunity to make money. I have the opportunity, if I'm free, if I have my freedom, I can hit the lottery tomorrow. I might wake up and hit the lottery for $1 million. So your freedom is priceless, and that's what I want people to know. I came from being incarcerated as a youth because I didn't listen to the older mentors that were trying to keep me away from the streets. I was hard-headed. By me not listening to the good advice, I had to sit down and do 7 years. So that's the inspiration I wanted people to get from my story. I don't care if they don't buy the music at all, but I want you to be inspired by my story, that you can come from nothing to having not even a penny, being released from a prison to being released to a shelter, and then to be able to own your own businesses, to be able to put food in your daughter's mouth, and to be able to give back to people that come from those same situations that I came from, you know?
I think it's amazing, you know, when you mention, your age, from the age 17 through 25, it's a very vulnerable age in a man's life, because at that age, a young man could be chasing something that will end his life, physically or even mentally. Because how many men will die in prison because of one small mistake? So maybe through those years of 17 through 25, it might have been a time when you were actually able to preserve your life. Because if you were in the street doing activities that might have had you ended up dead, or in life in prison. I think you mentioned that you mentioned the 80s and the 90s. We were lucky to see stories like the Queen Latifahs, like one of the first women who started a record label. We were able to see a lot of success stories, and now you became a success story, and your ongoing success will become a success story. And getting this type of story to younger readers or younger audiences, to the 11-year-olds, to the 12-year-olds, will definitely make a difference. So I just wanted to ask you, how do you define success?
Yeah, I define success as being, happy, not nobody else being happy with your achievements, but you being happy with your own achievements. You know what I mean? You being happy with your own personal achievements. That's what I define as success. You don't have to be a millionaire, but being successful, maybe you did something, you thought of an idea, and down the road in your life, you end up making $100,000 off that idea. You don't have to aim so high and think that you got to sell 1 million records to be successful. Making money and being able to put shelter over your head, put a roof over your head, to be able to put food on your table and eat at night. See, we have to learn how to not jump so high and think that if we can't jump that high, then we're not successful. Because it's people that don't have food on their table at night. So if I got $20 in my pocket and my daughter says she's hungry, and I can go buy her whatever she wanted to eat that day, whether it's McDonald's or anything, and it don't have to be fast food, I'm just making a point, then that's a form of success. I don't have to have 50 cent success to be successful. See, by me coming home in 2011 and being free for 7 years, that was an achievement for me because everybody doubted me by me being from 17 to 25 in and out of prison. So they thought that was just, oh, his life is over. He done made his decision. This is the life. This is the choices in the road that he's choosing to go down. You know what I mean? Now, 7 years later, whether I had this record company or not, I can look at that. Yo, I've been free for 7 years. That's a form of success. So we got to know that we don't have to think you need to make $1 million to be successful. Successful is whatever achievement whatever you achieve, whatever goal you set and achieve, whatever dream you have, and if you achieve it, it don't matter what measure or what amount of you achieve it, but you achieved it and you felt a personal happiness. You know what I mean? You got something out of that success. You felt happy. You know what I mean? Your family patted you on the back or something. You know, success is many different levels. And that's how I would define it. I would define that even if you take small steps to success, every step you make is a reason to be happy, and it's a reason to celebrate that success.
Very well put. Very well put. We definitely congratulate you. So what's next
Thank you very much.
Mr. Amagiri Young?
Well, what's next? What's next is me. I'm working on putting out my second album. And, I really want, and what's next is, I done did everything because I had in my mind that I didn't want to necessarily, when I first put my music out, like my first album, I didn't want to reach out to any known hip-hop artists that already have a solidified, solid fan base. But now as I show people that, I can rap without reaching out to a celebrity support, now this album, this time, I'm going to reach out. I'm going to reach out to a few people. I'm going to invest in my music as far as reaching out and getting some features by some known artists. And I'm going to try to, hopefully those business decisions allow me to reach more people. It allow more people to know who I am. It would allow more people to be interested or want to know my story. So that's what I'm working on now. I'm working on putting another project together and releasing that project. I'm working on getting out to Las Vegas and linking up with some business partners and hopefully doing some performances out there, selling some clothes, doing some networking. You know what I mean? Getting some little education from some seminars, and I'm just looking to travel the world to build my brand and to keep progressing. I don't want to tell myself that I don't want to get content with where I'm at. I want to continue to grow. You know what I mean? And I want to eventually, as I travel the world and go to Las Vegas and do things, I'm also looking for talent. I'm looking for talent as well. You know what I mean? And that's where I'm at right now. I'm just trying to get my foot into the door, make my name a household name, and get back to the community and just keep trying to, build off the success that I have already achieved.
Very cool, very cool. What one word best describes Amagiri Young?
Dedicated.
Right. It definitely shows. I mean, the stuff that, the stuff that you put out there, the music speaks for itself, just really amazing sound. So I just, I want to congratulate you with your milestones, everything that you've achieved in your life. Much success with everything that you have pending and on your agenda. And I want to thank you for sharing your story with us tonight and today. And we want to be a part of your growth. So thank you, Mr. Young.
And I want to say thank you to Hot on the Block and Mr. Torres as well. Thank you for having me. Thank you for reaching out to me to let me know that you had platforms that could help me out as well. And thank you for, looking me up and seeing the work that I was putting in. And you actually seen it, and you paid attention to it, and you said, hey, man, I see this guy's working hard. And let me reach out to him and let him know that I might can provide some opportunities for him. And, I thank you for that. I want to thank you for that. And, I'm here anytime, and I'm looking forward to anything that we can achieve together in the near future. You know what I mean? And I just want to definitely state that for the record, and I appreciate you having me here today, because this interview, this phone call here today, this is all a part of, artist development. You know, even though I done had forms of success, I'm getting views on video. There's still things that an artist needs to develop. He needs to know how to speak when he's being interviewed. You know what I mean? He needs to know how to speak or who he's speaking to. You got to have respect and things of that nature. So I want to say thank you again for giving me the platform to develop my speech and be able to develop my rhetoric being interviewed, whether it's in person or over the phone. You know what I mean? And I thank you for providing me with that opportunity today.
All right, same to you, man. I think, you know, a lot of people in this profession or just coming up have a lot to learn from you. You know, you've been a man, like you said. I asked you a few days ago if Hollywood would make a movie and title, you know, your name a movie, what would it be? And you said Walking Amongst the Fire, the life and the times of Amagiri Young. So this is just a
Yeah.
sneak preview of the life and the times of Amagiri Young, Walking Amongst the Fire. So thank you.
Yep. Thank you as well.
Okay, cool. We got it. We got that first part.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me just stop the recording real quick.